Okay, it's 2:04. I guess we are ready to begin. Call this meeting to order. Carissa, you want to do the roll call, please?
Yes. Judge Cunny Scott.
Present.
Mayor Paulette Guajardo. Judge David Krebs. Mayor Kathy Scuro. Gabe Guetta.
Present.
Mike Walsh.
Present.
Art Granado.
Present.
Emily Martinez. Chad Miguel.
Present.
Madam Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. And I don't know if I need to say this, I do it at the county court, but it is Thursday, April the 2nd, 2026, 2 p.m. We are at the Corpus Christi City Hall Council Chambers, 1201 Leopard Street, Corpus Christi, Texas, 78401, and we do have a quorum. This meeting is started at 2:05 now. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
We do not.
We do not. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on public comment? Moving on. Item number 3 then, approval of the TPC March 5th, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Did you get that, Clarissa? Gabe? Gara? Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Madam
Aye.
Chair.
Yes, go ahead. Is
One
there a
item for
correction?
discussion. You have one correction. Could you add me to attendance for last meeting, please?
Oh, yes, you came in
Thank you.
late. Yes.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second with one clarification to add Chad McGill. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Item number 4, discussion and possible action items. I would make a motion to table item A. We are going to bring that back to the May meeting, I believe, when she can be here. I think we talked to her or something, yes.
You need a second for that?
Please.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Are we going too fast? Sorry, you are looking like you're lost. Sorry. Item B, draft 2025 congestion management process, CMP. And Rob, I believe you're taking
I've
this
got
one?
that.
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. Before I start, I wanted to introduce to you all our latest senior planner. Karen Costanzo is in the front row. She didn't get lost and just showed up here. She's been on board for about 3 weeks. So
Awesome.
you will get to hear her present an item because we like to share our items as staff. So you'll hear from her later, but I'll take care of this item.
Welcome.
But you'll hear from her momentarily. This item before you is the end of the 1-month public comment period for our congestion management process. This is a document for every MPO required under federal law. We need to have this document and updated every 2 to 5 years. So this one is on a 5-year cycle. This one has been through your technical advisory committee, available for the public. It really sets the stage for how do we as an MPO and our partner agencies deal with congestion both now and in the future. And so in the document, it has all sorts of strategies. There's 4 primary tiers, including doing other things for like transit and doing things bike and pedestrian related. The last thing on the menu, so to speak, is widening the road. So our federal partners want us to work with the state DOT, local governments to do everything to make the system more efficient, effective, safe, and reduce congestion. Our congestion in this MPO is not so bad compared to other places that we all know about. And so most of ours are going to be those things for traffic operations safety, things we can do in transit. So this lays out the framework. It's up to the local governments and transit agency to implement. TxDOT does a good job implementing everything but widen the road. And so we look for those projects to come forward based on a little bit of the CMP. But when we do our 4-year plan, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that's where the projects really get developed and come forward and get funding if you all approve that. But this congestion management process, no public comments. It's recommended both by staff and your technical advisory committee for your final approval.
Any other discussion?
Curious, Rob, how much public input or feedback you guys received during the process?
Pretty minimal. A few comments for our technical advisory committee, probably over the last few months. They had some corrections on clarity of some of the documents. So in the back of, I'll show it to you one last time. The 250-page document. And so if you look at the backside, there's some graphics and pages that TxDOT staff said we should, maybe add this so it make it a little bit more clear. So we did that. A few other technical comments, but nothing that would alter what you have before you. So again, the TAC recommended, 2 weeks ago for you all to approve it. But public comments in general, none. We've sent it up to our federal partners. They have not replied back with any comments or changes either. So we think we're covered across the spectrum at the federal, state, and local level, which we like.
Very good. Any others? I will accept a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 4B.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Renato Wingate. Any opposed? The motion passes.
Great. Thank you for using your microphone so we can make sure we record whose motion and
Yes.
second.
Item C, and this one is yours, Jeffet.
Good afternoon. I'll be presenting item 4C. This document is an update to the MPO Title VI program. It ensures that all of our transportation planning and program activities are conducted in a non-discriminatory manner. As a reminder, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act requires that no person to be excluded based on race, color, or national origin. These further supported by the American with Disability Act, which emphasizes accessibility and inclusion for individuals with disabilities. The MPO current Title VI policy was last approved in 2018, which brings the document in line with current federal guidance as well. One important note is that, as discussed in previous meetings, federal actions have shifted on how environmental justice considerations are addressed in transportation planning, which there is now a less emphasis at the federal level, but the MPO continues to prioritize inclusive public engagement and equitable planning. The PAD outlines how the MPO ensures compliance with these requirements, and it includes providing public involvement process, identifying and addressing the needs of minority and underserved populations, and ensuring that the benefits and impact of transportation investment is fairly distributed as well. It also reinforces our responsibility how to make sure that all communities have a voice in transportation making decisions, and that no group is disproportionately impacted in our projects within the MPO. So the recommendation is that the Technical Advisory Committee and the Corpus Christi MPO staff jointly recommend the TPC approve the draft 2025 PAD. And during the 1 month public period comment period, MPO formatted the document visually to align with the formatting of the MPO's 2050 MTP. So, any questions?
Once again, did we receive any comments, Jafet, back on? The,
We did not receive any comments.
we had some parties in the past comment, and so I was curious if they came forward and had anything to share this time around.
Yeah, no public comments. Again, our robust discussion over months from our technical advisory committee. Again, the center of those comments was the change in direction from our federal partners. The federal administration changed, and they had different things that they wanted covered or not covered. So that was the subject of how much do we change our program for addressing discrimination. We did not change it much because this document does not require scrubbing out the language that the current administration doesn't like. But our technical advisory committee said, well, if you're collecting and have the demographic data, why not use it when you evaluate projects? Doesn't hurt. It's part of the normal flow of what we do anyway. And so we kept that in, and that's part of the recommendation from our Technical Advisory Committee. And so with that was probably a 3-month delay to make sure we got that correct. We're waiting on federal guidance. We got that probably last July, August. And so we took that back through the TAC, and we think we have a good document.
Can I ask a follow-up on that?
Yep.
Just because in everything we seem to be doing, there's impact to policy, obviously. So what I'm understanding is there's really no federal. You did double check. There's no impact to any funding mechanism that could potentially, with all these changes that are occurring. You know, I deal with that in my industry every day, and certainly what's important is that we make sure we maintain that level of funding at all times. So I'm curious, is that part of your going back to the federal agency to ensure that everything's okay and kosher with them in terms of what we've written into our policy here?
Yes. Policy is fine. It's not reviewable by our federal partners.
Okay.
Partners. Our other documents, our Transportation Improvement Program, which is on your agenda today, and our long-range plan, our CMP, other documents, yes.
Okay.
All that
That's good to
language that the
understand.
current administration has told us to remove, and they've told all 400 MPOs in the country, please remove that, and that would affect funding. It does not affect our funding. So in our work program, which you have today, in our other plans, all that language has been pulled out.
Okay, that's good to understand, and I'm sensitive to that very point, is that there's obviously changes that are occurring, policy-driven, that are impacting funding, and you've addressed that. Thank you.
Good point. Any other questions, discussion? I'll accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Now we have our new item D, Surface Transportation Block Grant Set Aside Cat 9 Call for Projects Revised Awards. And Karen, welcome. It's nice to meet you and happy to have you here. I believe this one's we're turning over to you.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Karen Costanzo, Senior Transportation Planner. And again, this item is a proposed action item revising the funding levels for hike and bike trails that were funded during the 2022 Surface Transportation Block Grant Set-Aside Program. Again, in your memo, you'll be able to see what was funded back in 2022. Since then, we've recently received requests from both the City of Portland and the City of Corpus Christi, and this action item accommodates those two requests, well, three requests really. We have requests from the City of Portland. They've gotten cost estimates for their two projects that have increased those construction estimates. And so you can see that the City of Portland's Memorial Parkway Hike and Bike Project Phase 2 cost estimate increased to $684,000 of federal funds, and the Sunset Lake Hike and Bike Trail cost estimate increased to approximately $2.8 million in federal funds. At the same time, we've received the request from the City of Corpus Christi to remove the Brook Road Master Channel 27 Hike and Bike Trail improvements in the amount of $1,090,703. So the bottom line in the 2022 award doesn't change. The total amount is the same. We're just recommending, and TAC is also recommending, moving those funds around to accommodate those two requests from both cities. And with that, I stand by for any questions. We do have in your packet the memo, the original memo from 2022 for your reference, if that's helpful to the discussion. Thank you.
And just to reiterate, this doesn't change the budget in any way. It's just moving to different line items. Yes. I'll accept a motion then.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion?
Real quick on B, Ocean Drive, what is that going to be on that Ocean Drive pedestrian crossing improvements? I see on the map you have it as B. What that goes from where to where, do you know? And what's that going to be? Because it looks like it's going along Ocean, not across Ocean. Was that-
I do not have the details of that project. I don't know if we've received anything from the, it looks like that in the MAPA from the 2022 memo.
Okay.
If you see.
Okay,
that
and those are
item.
just the areas, I guess, on the map. I'm going to agenda item 4D attachment 1.
Correct,
And that's just, I guess that's the area. That doesn't mean the direction it's going to go, right? That's just,
correct.
Okay.
That's the location.
okay, just the location. Okay, fair. That's all. Thank you.
And if I may, I think it's a pedestrian crossing that, similar to they have across from one of the parks on Ocean, the new city park, Cole. And there's another park, I can't remember the park,
I got you.
rope, there might be ropes.
Which is that blinking light that nobody knows how to operate?
Yeah, that's the one.
I got you.
So most traffic signals cost about $367,000, so this is a,
I know, but that's the one that goes red, then it blinks red, and then it becomes regular, those kind
That's
of
the one.
lights, which nobody knows what those mean. so.
Everybody sits
yes.
there.
So anyway, all right, it's good to have one. We need them, so appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Karen. Item E, draft fiscal year 2730 Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, and Jeffet.
Yes. Hello again. I will be presenting this item as well, the draft fiscal year 2027 through 2030 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. The TIP is one of our core planning documents. It outlines the transportation projects that we are expected to fund over the next 40 years. It keeps us fiscally responsible, and it complies with federal and state requirements. What we're bringing you today is the draft version of the document. The main action we're requesting is approval to release for the 1-month public comment. This step is part of a larger statewide process. Our schedule aligns with Texas timeline. All MPOs are required to submit their final TIP by May 29, 2026. So releasing this draft now will keep us on track as well. This item, then in terms of funding, the current estimate for the Corpus Christi MPO area is approximately $420 million over the next 4-year period. These funds come from a mix of federal and state sources and are distributed across several funding categories as well. To maintain fiscal constraint, we apply a 4% annual inflation rate consistent with TxDOT guidelines. And we coordinated closely with TxDOT Corpus Christi district staff to come up with this 2027 to 2030 transportation improvement program to reduce risk of losing any funds or delays as well. Looking at the projects themselves, all the highway projects are being sponsored by TxDOT. None of our local entities submitted any projects for funding in this cycle. On the transit side, we work closely with CCRTA to incorporate their project list and funding estimates, which reflect on the document, and you all can see it in the table that we have and the memo. Overall, the development of the TIP follows a performance-based approach and includes coordination across our regional partners to ensure consistency with state and federal priorities. The recommendation is the Corpus Christi MPO staff and TAC jointly recommend that the Transportation Policy Committee approve the release of the draft fiscal year 2027-2030 Transportation Improvement Program for the required 1-month public comment period.
Very good.
Any questions?
I don't think so. We'll accept a motion to pass to.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Guerra, seconded by Art. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item F, there's lots of items, action items today. Draft fiscal year 2025, fiscal year 2026 UPWP with amendment number 2. And Rob,
Yes, thank you, Judge.
turn this over to you.
Unified Planning Work Program, this is our MPO budget. It looks a little different than local government and all your budgets, but it is our federal document that is our budget approved by not only TxDOT, but our federal highway and federal transit folks. Today's item is our existing work program for fiscal year 26. We're halfway through that calendar year or fiscal year. We had a need to shift some money into some of the staff hours toward more long-range planning. We did not envision being this far into 26 having to do more of the long-range plan, which is our 2050 MTP, our Metropolitan Transportation Plan. So we're shifting money into more of that task 4 and some of the tasks in your cover memo. And so the bottom line number is the same. We're not able to get more money from our federal partners. So if we shift money within the subtasks, they're okay with it as long as you all approve it, because you approve our budget, and then we use that to do our workload effort, and fill out our timesheets and apply the hours according to this new schedule. Really, it's just a way to focus our staff hours to get the long-range plan done over the next 6 months. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What's driving the change, Rob? What's pushing us into spending more time on the long-range plan? Is there something federal-wise done, or what happened?
Yeah, the work program you have is a 2-year. Our next work program is going to be a 1-year, but in the 2-year, we did 25 and 26. So we expected a workflow. Most long-range plans take 3 to 5 years to develop. So we're just a little bit off cycle with, we approved our long-range plan about a year ago, but we needed to update that a little bit quicker than the normal 5-year cycle. So to do that, we need to put more staff hours to the 2050 MTP, which we're starting to bring you chapters and appendices on, but we'll have that approved by next April. So we need some more staff time to work on it for the next 6 months.
Is the document substantially changing in any way, or is it pretty much consistent with the previous documents?
Yeah, it's a fairly substantial change from what we did before.
Makes sense.
When we approved it February of 26, that was the last month we could approve it. And so we got all the requirements done, but we want to do a better job with some of the sections of that long-range plan. And so we're doing that now, and we'll be bringing that to you over the next 4 or 5 months.
Good question. Any other questions, comments? Can I get a motion to approve?
Move to release the draft with Amendment 2 for a 1-month public comment period.
Second that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to our last action item, item G, Corpus Christi MPO boundary change process. And Rob, back
Thank you,
to
Judge. So it seems like we have this item on your agenda every month.
For a while.
And it's been about a 2-year process. So the quick backstory, after the U.S. Census is done, every MPO gets a chance to look at their boundary, reset your boundary based on what is now being urbanized. So under the U.S. Census definition, they draw the map, they send it to the MPOs, and they say, here's your chance to modify, change your boundary. We started that a couple years ago. We've been through a few iterations of the boundary, a lot of discussions with our partner agencies, our federal partners, taking it through not only this committee, but our technical advisory committee. The last step in that was we had a online Teams meeting with our TAC members, TxDOT, Port, some of the cities to make sure we have the details of the boundary. There were some inlets that had some port projects that weren't quite in the boundary just because the way the lines were drawn. So we had to make sure we drew the lines to either the correct side of a street for a TxDOT project or within the right-of-way or including some waterways. And so there was about 40 touch points, and in your cover memo, we highlight some of those changes. And so when we got done after that almost 2-hour meeting, We had agreement from our technical advisory committee and MPO staff that this is the boundary that makes the most sense. The technical advisory committee recommended that to you all for approval. That approval will take us to the next step of creating a packet that we have to submit to TxDOT that's on its way to the governor, that the MPO and the governor decide what our boundary is. So there is a checklist in your first attachment. We're going to start completing those items on the checklist and try to get this to you in the next month or two for submittal to TxDOT and the governor's office to set our boundary. So that's our staff plan. I think TAC agrees to that plan. Two or three things in the memo that we talk about. There's been discussion with the city of Robstown. There's a little triangular piece of land that must come into our boundary. I went out and talked to them a year ago, May, to give them a resolution of support to do just that. That we, the MPO, you all can vote to have that little piece in our boundary. It's in their city limits. Resolution just says that's okay. They tabled that. I met with the mayor about 2 months ago and Robstown is a new mayor. So I met with the new mayor to give her a background on the issue, the tabled item, and see if it could come back to council to try to get it approved. She's still looking at that. Second part of that is to meet with TxDOT. The issue is that Robstown could get money from TxDOT from the MPO program or the rural program. You can't have money from both. So if you get $10, $20, $100 million from the rural program as decided by TxDOT, you probably don't want to give that up to come and fight for money with all of you about whatever our money is to do projects in the city of Robstown. So that's kind of the debate. So far, we've heard that Robstown is good with the triangular piece. I'm going to continue to verify that before it comes back to you for a final action. And so that's where Robstown sits. The last piece for City of Gregory. City of Gregory has always been a member since the beginning. They're in part of the boundary. They elected years and years ago, probably decades ago, to have San Patricio County speak on their behalf. And so at the technical level and at this level, you did not have the mayor of Gregory here. You had, the judge from San Patricio County, and that was their agreement. 6-7 months ago, the new mayor of Gregory suggested she would like, and she stated she would like to be a member. She'd like to approach the MPO to be a vocal member as opposed to a silent partner. They were supposed to show up last month or this month, and they have not. So I'll continue to follow up with the mayor to see if she's now backed off. And so as we bring this forward and put the package together, we want to move this forward because it takes the governor's office some time to review boundaries. And they're doing all 24 MPOs. Some MPOs have waited 2 years to have their boundary changed. And so we want to get the process going. Today's action today is give us that boundary. It's one of the checklist items. And then we'll go forward and put the package together for your consideration, hopefully next month. But if any changes happen, I'll be letting you know.
Got a couple questions. One, you said something, I don't know if you mean to say that, but you said the word back off of her position that wanted to be on, from Gregory.
Yeah.
The mayor, you said you don't know if they backed off, but do we want them to back off, or we don't want them to back off, or do we want them to get on? Because when you said that raised a red flag on me, so yeah. I'm curious on that.
Yeah, that's a question of your fellow TPC
Okay,
members.
so that was your opinion, personal opinion, when you said back off. You don't mean, you don't want her to back off, you just are using those words to just.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it.
Okay, I just want to be careful how we start saying words because I don't know if you were speaking on what you thought she needed to do, but as in she needed to back off. Okay, so second on that, if we decide to put her on there, does anybody from Sam Pat, i.e. the city of Portland or the county judge, do they get removed or we just put her on there as additional?
No, there would be additional voice.
And was there an issue, do you think, with doing that?
8 people.
We're at 8?
With, if you
That's
add
correct,
one, that's
correct.
on.
That puts that as 8, okay.
Yeah, it's eventually their request and your choice to include them or not. Our technical advisory committee stayed silent on the matter.
I understand.
I thought we voted last month on this issue.
Which one?
I thought
we voted, too.
about the mayor of Gregory. I thought we voted on this last month.
I don't
Discussed
know
it,
if
it
we
got brought up,
specifically
but I don't know
voted.
that we voted.
Yeah,
Mayor
what-
Scarrell
what-
made
They
a
were-
motion, so I thought we moved on that, but maybe not.
What did you think we did? No or yes?
No.
And they were supposed to be here, and several people have reached out, and this is
Right.
twice now, they could have
Yeah.
been here that they're
yeah,
not,
yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
I have issues with that.
Yeah.
And in Robstown's case, I had a meeting with the mayor of Robstown
Yes.
after our meeting last month, and kind of went through the different
Okay.
scenarios with her, just like Rob did. The general indication I had was that Robstown was not interested in entering into the MPO
Okay.
any more than they have to, based on,
Okay, and this is where I get a little confused. When you keep saying that small triangular piece of land, so that's all we're talking about, if that part to be in the MPO or not, is that correct?
That piece of land will be in the new MPO boundary.
Yes.
Okay, it has,
Has to be.
Has
so,
to be
okay,
in
so
there.
we're not.
But it
so-
doesn't impact
So the
them.
mayor has nothing to do with that. We're just asking if the rest of the city would like to be in. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
there was that question about transit at one point and the continued transit funding, that's all been resolved, so.
That with Port A too, right?
Robstown's not required to come in,
And Port A also, right?
yes.
Perfect, fair enough. That's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Did you have a question too? I think you had a question.
No, just
beforehand.
making a comment that I did meet with the mayor of Robstown. So we finally got to sit down. We talked about it last month, that she was wanting to meet with TxDOT. We addressed all of our issues with her, and we're offering them assistance as we can, so.
Good. Any other discussion? Then I will accept a motion.
Motion to accept agenda item 4G, Corpus Christi MPO boundary change process.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Walsh. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Item number 5, do we have any TPC member statements on local projects, programs, or items of interest? Anyone?
Couple of MPO projects that are ongoing. So ramp reversal project on SPID continues on pretty well, dealing with a lot of utility issues, so we're trying to get those closed up. But if you're out in the airline area along the frontage roads, you're seeing at least that outside lane closed on that one. 624 project, the raised median out to County Road 73. Contract's been awarded to JE Construction. They're starting to get their stuff together. Should start seeing construction happen here relatively soon out there. That's going to be adding a lane in each direction and adding hike and bike paths on each side of 624. So it's going to be a big, long construction project. Lots of headaches for us. Harbor Bridge continues to go well. Contractors still finishing demolition of the old bridge, as well as working on the new connections into downtown south of the interchange. So they are targeting June to be done. We'll see if they make it there, fingers crossed. And then we'll have a whole brand-new entrance into downtown Corpus Christi, which we're all looking forward to, so.
Hopefully even more.
And we have spent the last month trying to prioritize our projects in a challenging fiscal environment. So we are implementing techniques like dividing projects in half, where we might have 4 bridges to be replaced on a road. We're only going to be able to do 2 at a time, and then we'll let the next one a year or 2 later and do the other 2. So it's we have all kinds of challenges. So we're working through all those.
Welcome to the club. Any other?
I want to mention the maintenance facility. We had a groundbreaking, I think, on the 23rd. I want to say thank you for
It
being out
was
there.
awesome. It was great.
We look forward to having that. Appreciate all the support from the MPO, being able to get that accomplished. So $60 million project, should have been up and running maybe 2.5 years. So grateful for this, for board and all that. So, and thank you for being out there, Judge. And also the center staff was out there also. So appreciate your support.
Very happy to participate. We have item 6, but I would like to propose that we table executive and table number 7 until our May meeting. With this being a holiday week and short members present, I think those are better discussed with more members present. So I'd make the motion to table item 6 and 7 to our May meeting.
Second.
Motion, second.
We have a
You made the
motion and a second. I did it.
Yeah, you got it.
Walsh, yes.
You never make motions.
Sorry, we get a little quick over here late in the game. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. And then number 8, our upcoming meetings. I just said May 7th will be our next meeting here. So any other last minute comments or anything? Do you have something, Rob, you were fixing to say?
Nope, just
Okay.
a regular schedule for a change.
Regular schedule, yes. So it is 2:38, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great Easter. That's coming up.